Congressional Democrats and Republicans are selecting their new leadership following the midterm elections. In the House, CBS News estimates Democrats will gain at least 32 seats once all the results are in. That puts the Republicans in the minority for the first time since 2010. House Republicans yesterday picked California Congressman Kevin McCarthy to serve as minority leader. He fended off a challenge from Freedom Caucus member Jim Jordan. Congressman McCarthy joins us now from Capitol Hill. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, nice to see you. Congratulations on your selection. I know that you've acknowledged that your party took a beating in some of these suburban swing districts. Suburban women in particularly swung for the Democrats. Does the Republican Party have a problem with women?
We have a lot of room to grow. We don't have a problem per se just with women. It's not one item of why we lost the majority. There's a number of them. First, you have history. One of the things that happens when a party wins the White House, on average, they lose 32 seats. President Obama lost 63. So we knew history was against us. We had too many retirements. The most retirements we've had in more than 41 individuals retiring. We have amazing women serving in the House, and they moved up. You look at Kristi Noem is going to become the first woman governor of South Dakota. You look at Marsha Blackburn is going to be the first woman senator of Tennessee. And then we lost seats. More money on the other side. And the one thing about going into the minority, you can always improve. So I think you're going to find great improvement from us, and especially in the suburban area and maybe in a suburban agenda.
Leader McCarthy, I want to show you the pictures of the incoming House Republicans, freshmen, and the incoming freshman Democrats. You have, for the Democrats, there are 19 new women. For the Republicans, how many new women do you have?
Well, we have two right now. One is Young Kim, who was born in South Korea. She's leading in the polls. And this is a challenge we had because a number of our women ran for higher office and moved out. And it was the year of the woman. If you look at every open seat the Democrats had.
In the Republican Party?
No, it wasn't much. We have room for improvement. But if you look at in the Democratic primaries where there was an open seat and it was a woman versus a man, a woman won 69% of the time. So, of course, they had more women coming forward. We can do better in recruitment, and that's what I'm excited about doing. But also look at who else is coming in as freshman Republicans. If you look, Dan Crenshaw, a veteran that served us. If you look at Mike Waltz, the first Green Beret officer. We're diverse, but we can continue to expand and improve. But one thing about my leadership is constant improvement.
Yeah, well, that's good. We could all use constant improvement. I'll join you on that. But let's talk about the diversity issue, too, because they had a very interesting picture, Congressman, the other day. On the Republican side, it seemed to be a lot of white guys in suits. On the Republican side, on the Democratic side, on the Republican side, a lot of white guys in suits. On the Democratic side, you saw women, you saw people of color. Are you worried about diversity, too? Is that another area you said, listen, we need to improve on that, too?
Yeah, we had a number of people who had lost seats that would fit in different categories like that, Carlos Cabello and others. We didn't win in some of these seats, and I look at improvement. I look at an ability to move forward, and that is one area we'll continue to work forward on.
Congressman, one of the things we hear from women and minorities is that they were turned off by the president's rhetoric, his tone. You have a good working relationship with the president. In fact, it was noted that at times you bring him starburst. What, if anything, can you tell him? Cherry and strawberry in particular. What can you tell him about his rhetoric and what needs to be changed?
Look, tone matters a lot of where we're going, but I think what happened, and you watched it in that presidential election, in campaigns, people battle. And I think people were getting frustrated on both sides of the aisle, if you watched in the last presidential election, for Republican and Democrat. They want someone who would fight through. And they made a decision, and the president hasn't changed from who he was as a candidate to who he is today. But I think there's always a way to bring more people together. I look at what happened in the White House yesterday. You look at the bipartisanship that happened for criminal justice reform. Now, a lot of people have tried to do that. Past administrations have tried to do that. We're on the brink of making that happen. We passed it in the House, and when I looked in the Senate yesterday, it made all criteria of what you're asking me about, sitting inside the White House with President Trump as president, making this happen, getting through the Senate.
Yeah,
and that'll come back and become law. So, yes, there's places for improvement, but there's also places he's been very successful in. And I look at the final part of the results. Yes.
Oh, Leader McCarthy, I understand that you have interviewed at the White House with the president for the job of White House Chief of Staff. Would you take that job?
No, I have not interviewed for that job, and I have a job I was just elected to. Look, I have a focus. Our #1 goal here is to make sure we move America forward. I will work with anyone who wants to work to make America better. I have a second job as becoming the Republican leader, to win that majority back, and I'm focused on that, and that will be my job for the next 2 years.
And that includes working with Nancy Pelosi if she is in fact Speaker?
Yeah, whoever becomes Speaker, I can work on the other side of the aisle with them. Any place that we can find improvement. But we have to remember, too, when elections are over, we should govern. If the agenda is just going to be investigations, I think America is too great for such a small vision. Let's think about, how do we make America the next century ours? What are we doing about prospering, solving our veterans problem? We did well combating opioids with our bill, bipartisan. What we did to transform and stop human trafficking online. We just did criminal justice. There are a lot of places we can work together. Let's put those things that divide us aside. And you talk about this, a more perfect union. We have an opportunity. This is an exceptional country. America will always be the greatest when we find our places that we can work together and make sure the next century is ours.
Well, you need to spread that word to some of your colleagues. I know the president calls you My Kevin. Of all the nicknames that he's come up with, My Kevin sounds pretty good, My Kevin. Okay with you?
It's all right with me.
All right. Goodbye, My Kevin. I think that's enough.
All right. Thank you.